Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Serena and today we are doing things a little bit differently. So today I'm actually going to show you, I just got back from the grocery store with a grocery haul, and so I'm going to show you what we do with all of our plastic that can't be recycled. Of course, plastics that can be recycled, we take those to a recycling facility. If you don't know, I live in Plettenberg Bay, South Africa. So most of my viewers are from the US, so things work a little bit differently here. Some places you can have your recycling picked up for you. Other places you have to drop your recycling off at different recycling locations. So we drop our recycling off at different recycling locations, and then with our plastics that actually can't be recycled, we do something really cool called making an eco brick. So I'm going to show you in this video what an eco brick is, how you make it, and what you can do at home to make your own eco bricks. Just from the beginning here, my boyfriend's family is all pretty much off-grid. They live in what's called the Crags here in South Africa, which is basically like the countryside, essentially is what that is. Where we live more so like in the suburbs, they live more so like out in the country on what you consider like a farm. So they have built their entire house sustainably with sustainable materials. They're off-grid, they use solar power, and so what they're doing now is they're in the process of filling in their insulation in their internal walls. And so what we're using these eco bricks for is essentially for insulation. So here in South Africa, it doesn't actually get that cold during the winters. If you're in Fahrenheit, the coldest it probably gets is low 40s. In other areas, that's very different. So it's a very large country like the United States, so it covers a large geographical location. So a lot of the different provinces are going to experience vastly different temperatures for winter and summer. But essentially here, where we are living, basically it can get down to, like low 40s is pretty average in the winter time. So most of the houses here, they don't really have air conditioning, and they also don't really have heating. Some of them will have like fireplaces or stoves, but it's very rare to have a house with a heating system. So with that being said, my boyfriend's mom has decided to, as they're building the inside internal parts of their sustainable house, use eco bricks for the insulation. So I'm going to show you what an eco brick is. So essentially the one that we're working on now looks like this. It's basically any plastic bottle that has been emptied, rinsed, washed, and dried. So you can use something like this. You can also, we usually have a few of them at a time that we're getting ready to use. You can also use bigger bottles like this as well. Any kind of bottle that's going to be like structurally sound, and then also that can hold a decent amount of plastic. So this is the one we're working on right now. So this is the one I'm going to use. And as you can see back here, I just got done going to the grocery store. So what we're going to do now is put all of our grocery products into the eco brick. So basically, what goes into the eco brick is any type of plastic that can't be recycled. So here we have, a chip bag. We have, the small tiny plastics that come on fruits and vegetables in the grocery store. We have, the bags that the bananas can come in, which some of these actually can be recycled, but for our purposes, because we're not going to take these to a recycling place, we're going to use them in our eco brick. So the most important thing to keep in mind about an eco brick, everyone that I know that makes these uses a wooden spoon like this. So you're going to take your plastic and you're going to shove it in there with the wooden spoon. And so this is the process. And so you do this from basically the bottom all the way to the top, and you make sure everything's super packed in there. And then once it's fully full, you put the cap back on, and then you have your completed EcoBrick. So you can recycle all of this stuff back into something that then is going to build somebody's house and keep them insulated and keep them warm. And because it doesn't break down, as we know, the same way that other more organic materials are made, these can last in a house for an incredibly long time, and it's a really good way to repurpose these things that would normally be very bad for the environment. Now, I also want to put a disclaimer out here that even though, you know, obviously this is a lot of plastic here that we're working with, my partner and I do also try to use the little bit of plastic that we can. So if we can buy reusable, we actually don't really buy Tupperware. If we get things from the store that are contained in Tupperware, like ice cream containers or Greek yogurt containers, we actually use those as our Tupperware so that we're not buying more plastic. We, you know, use what's already available. We also reuse a lot of our glass bottles and glass jars. So anything, you know, like mayo that comes in a jar, peppers that come in a jar, things like that, we actually reuse those jars and repurpose them, which I will show you right now. You know, here's some coffee jars, some pepper jars, a tequila bottle, all of these good things. And so right now I'm using baking soda to soak off the labels with a little bit of soap in there and hot water, so that we can reuse the jars and repurpose them into something else. And so thank you so much for joining me today. Thanks for watching the video. Our next thing that we want to start doing in terms of sustainability and minimalism, because both me and my partner are pretty much minimalists as well. The next thing that we're going to start doing is we're going to start our composting, but as we're only in South Africa for another month or so before we leave for a Mexico trip and a trip back to the States to visit my family around the holidays, we are going to then come back to South Africa and find a new place to be living. So we probably won't be living in this place anymore, which will be sad, but also, you know, exciting to find somewhere new and maybe something a little bit more long term. And then we're going to start our own composting. So what's really cool that a lot of people don't actually know is I'm working as a hairstylist in South Africa, and one of the cool things that a lot of people don't know you can compost is actually hair. So what I'm going to start doing once we get back and I start working again is taking the hair from the salon that we use and composting that, so that we can also at the salon start being a little bit more sustainable as well. So this is a very big part of our lives here in South Africa. It's a very big part of a lot of people's lives here in South Africa. And I've noticed since I grew up in Chicago, we were pretty much landlocked. And I've noticed that it seems to me that a lot of times people that are very eco-conscious tend to be people that live near water. People that live near the ocean. I notice this a lot in different places in Florida and Texas, California, Washington, Portland, all of these places that border the ocean. There's a lot more efforts to be sustainable. And I think the reason for that is, one, because the ocean is such a natural beauty. You know, people that are living near the ocean seem to be really connected to the natural cycles of life, and also like Mother Earth herself. So I also think that it's a really intense reminder that when you're walking on the beach every day and you're seeing everything that washes up, you know, I walk on the beach and I see plastic bottles that wash up, I see the caps to bottles all the time, random things like Crocs or like flip-flops like will wash up on the ocean. And so when you live in a space like this where you see that, it really hits home a lot more than, for me, it didn't really hit home so much when I was living in Chicago, because we don't actually see the effects of what's happening to our planet and what's going on with all of this plastic and this garbage problem. But essentially, I think a lot of people that are living closer to the oceans and closer to these places where we see this firsthand on a regular basis causes them to be a lot more eco-conscious and a lot more invested in sustainability and minimalism and climate pledges and all of these types of things that obviously, of course, we all know are very important. So I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you found it slightly helpful and enjoyable. If you're looking for more tips on sustainability or minimalism, you can watch the other videos, which I will link here, and at the end of the video I will begin to make more minimalism and sustainable videos. I'm starting to make a capsule wardrobe because I've been living here in South Africa out of one bag of clothing for the last 4 or 5 months. So basically I think I have about 30 pieces of clothing in my wardrobe right now, and that's including, like, I'm going to work and wearing these things, I am going to parties and wearing these things, I am lounging around at home and wearing these things. So if you're looking for tips on things that are going to be more sustainable, more minimalistic in terms of shopping, and in terms of being able to pair a lot of items together, I will be making one of those videos coming up soon. So comment below if you would like to see basically a wardrobe tour or a capsule, capsule wardrobe tour from me. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, comment below anything that you learned or anything that you would like me to share with you. And we'll see you next time. Big love, Serena.